Hi everyone, it's Angela with Mystic Moon. Today I'm bringing you guys a little bit of a different reading. This is still along the same lines of twin flames, but it's specifically for divine feminines that want to know whether or not their divine masculines are in fact thinking about them or missing them at this time. So in this time and space, okay? I went ahead and broke it down into 4 different parts. So I will timestamp it in the description box. That way, just in case you guys want to fast forward to another part of the video, you can do that. How I've broken it down is I've taken the 4 suits of the tarot. So we have earth, air, fire, and water. And we're going to go ahead and apply those to astrological signs. So we're going to do like this one, for instance. This is the Knight of Discs, which is the earth sign. So it's going to be for either your earth sign males, which would be your Virgo, Capricorns, or Tauruses. They can either have this as their astrological sign. They could have this in their moon or their rising sign. They can just have a lot of earth in their chart, or they could just be an earthly type of male. This would be somebody who's very stable, loyal, somebody who could possibly be a father or a father figure. This could be somebody who has a lot of money, their own business, just somebody who has a lot of earth-like qualities. But it's however the divine feminine wants to categorize her divine masculine. You can use this entire reading and use all the different suits. You can use maybe just one or several. It's really up to you and however it resonates. There is no right or wrong way to do any of these things. It's just whatever is resonating with you at the time is the message that's meant for you. So that's how we're going to go ahead and work it. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. But we are starting today with the Knight of Discs, which is going to be the Earth Divine Masculine. So when I was shuffling the cards, I had asked specifically, is this Earth Divine Masculine thinking about his Divine Feminine? And does he miss her? So these are the messages that came through. And also my camera keeps going from dark to light, so I apologize, okay? Just bear with me. And I'm not reading necessarily, see, it just went really dark. I'm not reading necessarily the meanings of the tarot today. I will in some cases, but in other cases, I'm just going to either read the image or just intuitively channel the information, okay? So I might be all over the place. Okay, so the Hierophant, though, this card was an indication to me. This person is very much in thought. So when I ask, is he thinking of his divine feminine? Of course, I want to say yes when I see this. But as the other cards started to pop out of the deck, a message started to form. That message here, and we'll go over this. So we have these orbs of light. So the brain part is not there. It is absent in this picture. And the reason why is because we just have this spirit, okay? It's the spiritual thoughts, the spiritual connection between the two. This orb of light, like this light, and it's going right into her third eye. To me, the communication and the thought process for the divine masculine is very much in the 5D. And so what the 5D would be is like a dream state or a dream world or just that place that you reach in meditation. I'm just kind of trying to break it down in layman's terms so that way you guys can understand what we're talking about when we say 5D. And then of course the 3D would be what we're experiencing here in the physical world. So is he physically in this physical world in time and space as in today and this very moment thinking of her? The answer that I got is no. And the reason why is because they are connected, but it's in the 5D. So if you are experiencing this connection here with your divine masculine, this is just that confirmation that you are in fact communicating. So if you're having dreams about this individual, or you're communicating with them telepathically, that information and that meeting and those conversations are taking place, but it's in the 5D. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't think about you next week, or if he comes across a song or he happens to see something that he wouldn't think of you. But what I'm guided to tell certain divine feminines that are watching at this time is to not dwell on the fact whether or not he's thinking of you, okay? Because in fact, there is this block here that's taken place. A lot of work needs to be done before you would even have a conversation or even come back together again with this individual. And this is for some, not all. But we have the Three of Swords and the Nine of Swords. These are both mental cards. The swords are mental. The Three of Swords is a very sad card. It's when we feel betrayed, or it's just when we feel absolute heartbreak. The Nine of Swords is either you were cruel to someone or someone was cruel to you, or you're just cruel to yourself. It's a lot of different meanings with this card, but there's tears, there's sadness. Somebody feels betrayed. Somebody feels a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. This could be something that the Divine Masculine has in fact done to you, and he knows he's done you wrong. So there's a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. Why would he reach out when he's hurt you so much? Okay. Then here, if you're in so much pain, you know, it's about healing that pain and trying to look at things from a different perspective, which is obviously hard to do when someone hurts us. In some cases, I don't feel like a lot, but there might be one or two out there that are listening that maybe this is something that the Divine Feminine has done to the Divine Masculine. Maybe she has betrayed him in some way. Maybe he misinterpreted something. So there's a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misconceptions, and they parted on bad terms. That could apply to some of you out there. But whatever this is, it's a roadblock. The Chariot is all about movement, and this has to do with the road. And so for me, this is a roadblock that is preventing the two of you from having communication. So this would be why one or both of you, neither of you, are reaching out to one another. This has to be cleared up, whatever this is. It has to either be forgiven or let go or looked at from a different perspective. And I do feel that the two of you are meeting in another time and space to do this healing work. And if you're not doing that, this is an indication from Spirit that this is something that you can do. So if you feel that you have no control over what's happening here with your Divine Masculine, he's either with someone else, or you have no idea where he's at or how to even get a hold of him, or even if you did, there's no way in hell you're reaching out, whatever the case may be, or vice versa with him, with you, whatever the case may be. This is telling you that in the meantime, there is something that you can do about it. And it's just in a different way. It's just in a different way and a different time and space. So you have to remember this. You have to remember that that's the magic of this connection, is that you can still do the spiritual work with your twin flame. You don't actually have to have them in front of you in the physical world, or even in this third dimensional world, to be able to connect with them and do this healing work. That's the message that's heavily coming through. Okay. So I hope that some of those messages did apply to some people out there, and it might be helpful at this time. But I'm being guided to tell you that no, he's not thinking of you at this time in that way. And if that gives you the strength and the courage to either temporarily cut yourself away from him and to try not to dwell so much on the pain and the hurt, if that helps you in some way to be able to move on to a more peaceful state of mind and to let go temporarily while you can heal and do some work, or maybe, you know, continue to live your life without thinking about the pain and the connection that you share, then that might be the answer that you needed to hear at this time. There might be somebody that needed to hear that, well, he's not thinking about me, so, you know, why am I wasting any more time thinking about him? If that's the way that you need to look at it, because that gives you a little bit of strength to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm done worrying about this. Then that's the message that you needed to hear. Okay. But moving forward, this I wanted to ask in the 5D. So this is not in a third dimensional way. This is going to be in a very spiritual message from your Divine Masculine, what he has to tell you. This is the message that he has for you, that we will be together again. So your Divine Masculine wants you to know that at some point in time and space that you guys will be together again. It's an eternal connection. So you're not crazy for feeling this connection. You're not crazy for feeling so drawn, or just, why can't I let this pain go? Why can't I let this situation go? Why can't I let this person go? Why can't I move on? It's almost like that message of it's an eternal connection. You guys will come back together again at some point. But there's a lot of things that are standing in the way of that from happening, and a lot of pain that needs to be healed and worked on. So again, if it can't be in the physical world, you can certainly do it in a spiritual sense. But in the meantime, another message that he has for you, something he wants you to work on and try to surrender, is negative thinking. It says you have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on something positive. So obviously, we have negative thoughts here. It comes up right here. Okay, so this is the pain that you guys both share together. I'm not seeing that you're alone in this. I'm really not. I'm definitely seeing that this is a shared pain. Okay, you might be experiencing a little bit different than him, but it's definitely a shared pain. So he wants you to try to surrender to the negative thinking of thinking about it in negative terms, as hard as that may be. Try to not necessarily not or thinking about it in a positive way, because that's, you know, ridiculous. What I believe that the message is that it's about surrendering the thought, meaning once the thought comes, block it or fake it until you can make it, fake it until it's real. That's how positive affirmations work. When we start saying them, it's like, yeah, right, I don't believe what I'm saying right now. That's ridiculous. So it takes practice. It takes a while for your brain to finally catch up with yes, you know, where you accept it and you start to believe it. So it's almost like about that positive affirmation. When the thought comes up, say, thank you for sharing, and then replace it with something positive. That's the message there, until you can block that negative thinking from even occurring in your brain. So that way it doesn't have to define you, and it doesn't have to define this connection or the situation anymore. This is just earthly crap that happened. This isn't even the connection in another time and space. In another time and space, it's a perfect connection. But here, it's just an illusion of all this pain and all these tears and all this trauma and all these things that have happened. It's just an illusion, because you will be together again. So in the meantime, try to surrender to that negative thinking. So I'm hoping that makes sense to some of you out there that are dealing with the Earth Divine Masculine. Now we're moving on. All right, so this next portion here is for the Air Divine Masculine. So this is going to be for your Libras, it's going to be for your Geminis, and it's going to be for your, why can't I think of the other one? Aquarius, okay? But again, if you already heard my intro, it doesn't have to be the specific sign. It could just have, your Divine Masculine can have these qualities or air in his chart all over the place. So when I was shuffling, is the Divine Feminine on this particular Divine Masculine's mind? Is he thinking about her? The answer is yes. And the reason I say yes is because this is the first card that popped out. So the Divine Feminine immediately made her presence present. She immediately popped out. Okay. And the reason that I'm saying that that's the Divine Feminine is the very next card that popped out here was the Princess of Swords. And so for me, this is a karmic partner that the Knight of Swords is with. Now, this doesn't apply to all Divine Masculines out there, but it may apply to some of them. And some of you females out there might resonate with this. But this is currently a partner that the Divine Masculine is with. So unfortunately, he may be thinking about her, but he's not able to do anything about it, because this person here, because this Princess of Swords, and that's not to, you know, to say that anything is wrong with a female air sign, a Queen of Swords that keeps popping up in most of these readings that I'm doing. Because I know that there's a lot of air sign women that are identifying with the Queen of Swords in a very positive way. So I definitely don't want to say that just because she pops up that it's a negative. But in this particular message, in this time and space of this reading, that's what's coming up. And that's how I'm reading it, okay? But the Princess of Swords is somebody who is around the Knight, your Divine Masculine. This is somebody who is very immature, not necessarily emotionally, but mentally. There's a lot of manipulation and there's a lot of immaturity going on with this person. She's very controlling, and she is doing, she could even be trying to sever the ties with the sword that she's holding with you. So, like I said, I think in yesterday's reading and in other prior readings, it's almost like she is intercepting some kind of communication. If you guys are talking, or he's reached out, or you've reached out, something has been intercepted, or she is contacting you in some way. I think I actually heard that in one of the comments, that there is some kind of communication that's going on there, and it's not in a positive way. So whatever is happening, there is something that, yes, this Divine Masculine is thinking of the Divine Feminine, but there is this disruption in his life. So it keeps him from either coming back together with her, that's just standing in the way. But the main The main message, though, for the divine masculine is that he needs to take control. He needs to be the emperor. He needs to put this person in check, or in fact, get this person out of his life. If he truly wants to be with this divine feminine right here, that's what he needs to do. He needs to gain control. He needs to stand up. He needs to put his foot down and be an authoritative figure in his life. But what we have right now, we have these two cards. So there could be some financial issues that are going on for him right now. I think that with some of them, they're either financially connected to this particular person right here, this Princess of Swords, or they're just not feeling stable enough to make this change. But whatever it is, it's like things are just really all over the place. They don't like what they've built up so far. So this is the divine masculine here, and he's got all these things that he's built up around him, and he's not satisfied with it. He's not satisfied, and he's kind of taking a break because he doesn't really know which way to go next. And then we have this indecisive, just kind of like unstable energy here. It's like he knows he needs to make changes, but again, he's having some difficulty making these changes. So he is thinking of the divine feminine, this particular air divine masculine, but he has this other stuff going on. And so it's either preventing him from making this contact. The message that he has for her in the 5D is, I had to leave that way. So if he in fact left the divine feminine for this person, there's a message about he had to leave that way. I'm not sure exactly what that entails. I think that will probably make sense to some of you out there, that you don't even really need me to try to channel what that means. But the first thing that's coming up when I'm asking Spirit, what does that mean for some divine feminines out there? What I'm getting is that he had to leave that way because either he was not going to be able to break away from you unless he had someone else to go to. Okay. Almost like a codependency there. Or also that he knew that he couldn't be what you needed him to be. And so it's almost like he had to leave in a certain way, almost like if it was a lie or just a betrayal or whatever that was. It's like that's what he had to do in order to break away from you, or to just get you to see that, he wasn't right for you. Something like that. That might make sense to some of you. It might not, and that might not even apply. But those are the messages that came through with that. I don't have any more information on that, so I'm hoping that makes sense. And then the other message that the divine masculine has for you is surrender your outdated beliefs about yourself. Let go of limiting ideas about yourself that originate from the past. So whatever's happened here, he's saying, don't let that define who you are. Don't let those beliefs about what happened, whether or not because he's with her and he's not with you, she's better than you, you're not good enough, he chose her, all those things that obviously are formed in our minds when our mate is with someone else. It's like, what's wrong with us? So he's telling you to surrender those beliefs about yourself from the past. Then you can own your power and soar in your life. So he knows that this situation is kind of taking away your power. He knows that it's diminishing your power and your confidence and how you feel about yourself. And so his message to you is to try to let that go the best way that you possibly can. Don't let your beliefs, these outdated beliefs, don't let them define who you are today. What's ever happened in the past and whatever he decided to do, it really didn't have a lot to do with you. It had more to do with him. So don't let whatever, you see with them, like I mentioned yesterday, social media, happy pictures, she's really, fit and perfect and you don't feel like you are, or he loves her more than he loves you, or he's doing things with her that he never did with you. I'm just talking from a woman's perspective of the things that go on in our minds when our mate's with somebody else, like what the heck is wrong with us? So it's just things like that. Don't let this steal your thunder. Don't let this make you so fearful and take down your confidence level. Your divine masculine wants you to remain strong. He wants you to rise up from the ashes of his shit, okay? He wants you to be able to get stronger from this and to basically rise from those ashes is what he wants. So even if that's not something that you're even experiencing, some of you may have actually had words with your divine masculine, and that's definitely not the case. Maybe he's being outright rude about it, like he just doesn't even care about your feelings. So it's like, okay, that's great. He's saying this here, but that's not what he's saying to my face. So I understand, some of the confusion there, but these are 5D messages. This is soul to soul, spirit to spirit in its purest form. That's where these messages are coming from. They're not necessarily coming from him in this time and space in the third dimensional world. Okay, so I just wanted to explain that to you guys. So this one is thinking about her, yes, but there's definitely something that's going on, and a woman in particular that's in the way, that is limiting either contact or affecting the contact there, and he's got to get his stuff together. He's got to get his ducks in a row and get his life fixed up, and start standing up and taking some authority or some authoritative measures in his life in order to basically get back on track. But that's kind of what he wanted you to know in the meantime when it came to that. So we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so this next one is going to be for your fiery divine masculines here. So we've got this Knight of Wands, and that represents your fiery DM. So when I was shuffling the cards, I asked, the normal question, which was, is this divine masculine, this fiery divine masculine, in fact thinking about his divine feminine? Is he thinking about her? Does he miss her? So what I'm seeing is that we definitely have some memories, okay? We have some memories that he is having. Is he in the forefront of your mind? No. The reason that I say this is because this is the divine feminine right here, and she came up as the last card. So he does think about her. There are memories. There's certain things that pop up that make him think of her, but he's not thinking of her on a daily basis like she might be thinking about him, okay? But this Six of Cups here is about that connection from the past. So there is that, connection that you guys share. But it's combined with the Devil here. And so to me, this Pleasure card, which is very much just about having that casual fun and just feeling good connected to the Devil, for me, this tells me that the divine masculine at this time could really be in a very negative cycle when it comes to just being very indulgent in life in general. He could be doing drugs, he could be drinking a lot, partying, he could be having a lot of meaningless sex, just purely physical relationships at this time. I mean, I know that it's not really a message that's healing for the divine feminine to hear that, but there just could be some kind of an addiction that's going on a physical level, like a very earthly type of animalistic type of energy that I'm sensing here with this particular card combination. So that it's like he's so tied up in that she is not necessarily the furthest thing from his mind, but she's very stable. She's a very stable part of either his life, or she was just that very practical person. So he is busy over here doing all this other stuff, and kind of almost in a sense maybe knows that she might be there waiting for him when he gets done doing whatever he's doing over here. So that message alone could be enough for some of you divine feminines to either start taking care of yourselves, move on into other experiences in the meantime, or realize that whatever he's got going on over here, the glamour of it all is really just a facade. It's not necessarily has anything to do with you. It's just this is what he's dealing with right now. Those are the energies that are being presented in his life at this time. The Judgment card, this is you looking upon him in the situation, looking at him, and with those almost like daggers, okay? You're looking at him and you're judging him in a certain way for his actions, okay? But what the message here and what we have in this card is we have this communication, like this light that connects the two of them. There are two figures here. There's two fragments of this man and only one of her. So the divine feminine, she's very much in her energy, but she has to choose how she's going to look at the divine masculine. She has to choose. Is she going to look at the ego part of himself? Is she going to look at the projection? Is she going to look at what she's seeing in earthly terms, or is she going to see him in a spiritual light? Is she going to see him and look at him with those eyes of unconditional love? Okay, so that's the message that's coming through, is that instead of being here, looking at him dead on, looking at everything that he's doing that you're just in pure disgust over, like, I just can't believe that he's doing this, or that he's being so hurtful, or that he's, can't get his life together. When is he going to figure it out? It's about not being here. It's about being here. okay? Looking at him in a different perspective, trying to look at the connection between the two of you in more of a spiritual sense. The thing is, you are a part of his life. You are a part of what he does think about, but it's not on an everyday basis. And it's kind of like this energy of, he knows that it's almost like your home, and he knows that he can kind of do a pit stop here and there, because you'll have him. So I don't know if that's some of you divine feminines out there. But the message, though, that he has for you in the 5D is that it's not your fault. So whatever issues that he has, whatever choices that he's made, he wants you to know that it's not your fault. And this is definitely something that he's done to you. So it's not your fault. It's not that you weren't good enough. It's not that you really did anything wrong. It's just that he's on his own journey, and he's got his own demons to battle there, okay? But he also wants to say to you, surrender obsessive thinking. If you're obsessing about me or our situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you the clarity or even solve the problem. So he's really telling you to let go of this obsessive thinking, because the devil is all about obsession, and it's also about codependency, and it's just about addictions to people and obsessive negative thinking, okay? So you might be negatively connected to this particular fiery divine masculine if these messages are resonating with you. These particular divine feminines might have a real struggle and issue right now with being negatively tied to this particular fiery male here, okay? And so this is really more about your journey right now. It's more about you needing to let go and you needing to look at things in a different light. And I hate to say that, like, you need to do this and you need to do that when this person is doing all this. But if, you know, you're serious about this type of journey and understand it and want to actually use it in a positive way to grow yourself in learning and forgiveness and unconditional love and all that, then that will probably make sense to you. But you are definitely there. But are you in the forefront of this person's mind? I'm not getting that at this time. This person does occasionally think of you, but this person is very tied into the physical world and what he's doing and what he's experiencing on that kind of a level of just addiction and physical stuff and just what he's seeing and just what he's surrounding himself with. But you no longer need to check up on him. You no longer need to look at him and say, you know what, he really needs to get his life together and you know, what is he doing? And, you know, I'm just trying to have that mental thought of, you know, just what us as women or divine feminines tend to do sometimes is we tend to look at our divine masculines who aren't getting it and almost like a mothering type, putting our finger in the face and saying, you need to clean up your act and you need to stop doing this and you need to stop screwing around here because you've got this wonderful stable woman in front of you, which is me, and you're too busy over here just like blocking it out. What the heck is wrong with you? So not even sure I'm not even sure if that little ramble made sense or even resonated with any of you guys, but I'm hoping that somebody out there at least is understanding that message and is getting something from that. But that is what I'm getting when it comes to this fire divine masculine, when it comes to him thinking of his divine feminine at this time. So I hope that gave you guys some clarity. So we're going to move on to the very last one. Okay, so this last set of cards has to do with the water signs. So this is going to be for your watery divine masculine. Is he thinking about you, divine feminine? Does he miss you? That sort of thing. So we're just going to jump right into those cards. So what I'm seeing right off the bat is not necessarily, okay? We do see her showing up here in the middle. So I feel like it's pretty balanced with this particular water sign, this particular watery male. So I see that he is thinking of her, but it's not all the time, and it's not too much and it's not too little. It's just really balanced for me in this one, okay? She's not at the forefront of his mind, but he doesn't forget her either. He has his own things going on. So this one here has some goals. He has a lot of things that he wants to do. There's still something that he wants to accomplish that he hasn't accomplished yet. It's still in that idea form, but he's set off on a journey to accomplish something. He's got a lot of goals something he wants to conquer. So he's definitely still in this hermit mode right now. He's in this hermit mode where he's trying to find his way. He's doing a lot of inner work, all of that right now. So the Princess of Discs, she shows up here, and she's showing up as a very stable type of energy in this man's life. And so this is somebody who he thinks about in terms of somebody that he may want to spend the later part of his years with. Maybe once he goes off and has his little adventure and all these other things, he'll come back to and revisit this particular divine feminine at a later time when he's able to take this time for himself and go on this particular journey. He'll come back to this and revisit this at a later time. But then we have the High Priestess and we have the Seven of Cups. And so the message that I get here is that this is really where the relationship is. It's in another dimension. So again, I'm getting this particular connection with these two is very much in the 5D. So I don't see that there's a lot of connection with this this divine masculine water that's coming up here. They're probably in separation right now. So this relationship really exists more in the mind, I believe, of the divine feminine. But that doesn't mean that the divine masculine isn't feeling this. Okay, I definitely sense that she's more aware, she's more open, more awakened to this connection than this particular person is. But that doesn't mean that he's not feeling stuff too. He does have a lot of things in front of him though. So I'm seeing that this particular person is either just casually dating. I don't see him being actually in either a deep committed relationship, and if he is spending time with a female, there's just really not a lot of substance there. It's just kind of fleeting. It's not something that's stable, and it's not something that's really going to last. But I just kind of see this person either being in and out of just quick little dating types of situations. But I see this person being more of a loner and somebody who needs to find his own way. The special message that he has for his divine feminine when it comes to the 5D is I see all of your thoughts. And so what's that saying is that whatever communication that she has sent to him, again, I want to point that card out there. He's receiving this information. So he is receiving some kind of information when it comes to the dreams, when it comes to just thoughts. So she might have a specific thought or send him some kind of a thought or healing, and he is receiving it. He might not know exactly when he receives it what it is, but he is feeling something, and it's very, very healing and very positive. And it looks to me like he does need it. I don't see him being in a lot of pain or a lot of sadness. It's just more of like confusion. He doesn't really know, what's going on or where his life is going. He's just, again, he's still on this journey of trying to figure it out. But I see all your thoughts message is just that, meaning that I share your thoughts. I almost feel like this particular union here is a lot more aligned than the other three that I just did. For some reason, this one seems more in tune, and it probably has to do with this is just very balanced for me. This is very balanced energy. She's right in the middle. It's not too much. It's not too little. It's just right. And then their thoughts are aligned. Another reason too is to surrender to the wonder and awe. Open to the magic of every moment and sense the awe and wonder in all of life. This attitude will keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. For me, this is about surrendering to the wonder and the awe of the twin flame connection. I mean, if you think about it, it's just, it's a very magical, it's like almost something you can't even really explain to other people that don't even know about it. It's like a phenomenon is what it is. And so it's very mysterious. It's very magical. It's very like, it's just this like amazing thing. And so the divine masculine is indicating to the divine feminine to surrender to this wonder, surrender to this adventure, surrender to the magic of this connection. Okay. He in the 3D might not even be there yet, but that's okay. In the 5D, they both are. And so he's saying to surrender to that, surrender to the wonder and the awe of the experience. So for me, it doesn't mean that no pain has occurred. It doesn't mean that there is nothing that this couple needs to work on. But I'm just seeing out of all the signs and all the elements that I just read, that this to me is the most, I don't know, this one to me seems the most just on task. I hate to say that, ooh, this is the winner, ha, yay. That's not what I mean. But yeah, just for me, if that is a message that some of you people out there need to hear, I feel like you're doing a really good job. I think that the energy is really good on both parts of the female and the male, and that you guys are really in alignment with this particular one. So I guess this is the winner for the time being. All right, I'm done being silly. So anyways, I really hope that this particular, or these particular messages made some sense. This is the first time I ever really broke it down and did just different readings on different energies of divine masculine. So, because I tend to feel that when I channel, I'm channeling on the same types of divine masculine. So a lot of the messages that I get are going to be very similar or be a continuance of the connection. And in a way, I kind of think that's great, because some of my followers, if they resonated with the first reading, they're probably going to resonate with most of them afterwards. So it's like this continual journey that we'll all be on together, you know, being on that same wavelength, and that's okay. But there might be some people that tune in just for the one reading, and because I broke it down, there might be one that resonates more than the other, because we're dealing with 4 different types of divine masculines. So anyways, I hope that this way that I did it worked for you guys, and that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you guys want to see, any suggestions. I love doing things that are different and not the same all the time. So all you got to do is ask. So anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks for all your wonderful support and wonderful comments, and I'll catch you guys next time.